Well, in computer graphics, we usually treat lights as rays coming from a source. The direction of these rays can either be omnidirectional. When we say omnidirectional, it means it's a point light source. What we mean by point light source is you have a source of light, and the rays of that light falls in all 360 direction in around that object. Whereas this one is called as omnidirectional, and the second type of light source is called directional. So in case of directional source, we have the one of the example of directional source is spotlight, where you can focus the light on an object from an angle or from a distance. So these maybe your table lamp falls under this directional light source, or maybe to some extent even the tube lights are also falls under directional light source, etc. So if we have a table lamp, we can consider it as a directional light source. So the light falling in from the table lamp to a certain area is a directional. Similarly, the effect of directional light source is different from the omnidirectional light source, because usually we have for directional light source you have a prominent shade falling on the other side. Like if you see a light source from here, maybe a spotlight falling on this cube, you can see the cube from the other side pretty in a clearly, and the cube looks pretty bright. Whereas on the other side of it, let's say on this side of it, you can see the shade of that. So you will have the prominent shade in case of directional light source. Two important things that we need to consider while discussing about lights and shading in CG is what are the properties of light that will be added in our scene, the shape and the size of the light, as well as the direction. The bigger the size, the brighter the shape, as well as the direction will play an important role, as well as the properties of the object that you are planning to see or to illuminate. The important properties, the material, whether it is opaque material or a transparent or a translucent one, that material is important, plus the geometry of the object, whether it is spherical or cubical or any other shape, and the absorption of the amount of light it absorbs. That depends on the color. It will decide the color of the object. So these are very important that we need to set during the scene creation in CG. Let's know another term in CG, especially when we are discussing lights. It is diffused reflection. As we all know, reflection is some amount of light will be reflected back from all the objects except it is completely black. Now here the light falling on any surface is reflected back such a way that we can say it reflects equally in all direction, but in a scattered manner from a rough surface. Therefore the surface looks the same color from all viewpoints. Whereas on the other hand, if we talk about specular reflection, the specular reflection is, apart from diffuse reflection, light sources create highlights or bright spots. These are called as specular reflection. So let's say if you consider the same, if it is not a rough surface, if it is a smooth surface or a shiny surface, and the amount of light falling on it is pretty high and in a normal to the surface, and your viewing point is also same, you can see that bright spot on that area. So this is known as specular reflection. The rest of the object will be of one color, and whereas one particular spot on the object will be of almost like white, off-white color. That is known as specular reflection.